Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity. All right, we've got laundry in the background, tea in hand. I think we're ready to do this podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having a wonderful day so far. I am having an excellent day so far. When you are listening to this, it is probably well past the time that I've been on vacation. However, tomorrow, in my time in reality, I get to go visit my family and then travel with said family to Scotland and going on a few-week vacation that I am very much looking forward to. So, thank you guys all for tuning in, and I will probably have some more stories to share with you after I come back to just revel in the fruits of life and enjoy being in a new culture, a new area, getting to explore the sights, and ooh, definitely a Harry Potter train ride. Your girl loves a good Harry Potter. Today, I had no plan for this podcast. I am leaning into more consistency over perfectionism, in which case, I am just freeballing it and more going on what kind of comes up, inspiration, maybe some fun examples and anecdotes, and we're just going to see where this goes. The funny thing is, as I am writing this, I'm currently flipping through my book. For those of you who are looking at this on YouTube, I have a notes book and journal that I love carrying with me everywhere I go because I find that inspiration comes when you least expect it. And sometimes it's with a particular person or it's in a certain situation. Your mind's just in a good space. Maybe you're in the shower, oftentimes in the shower, that you're just thinking thoughts and something comes up and it's like a light bulb goes off in your head and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like this is such a great thought. Like thank you universe for such a beautiful thought. So happy to be receptive of it." And so now I just carry around a little book with me and I write down things that that feel fun and inspiring in the moment to recollect and recall later on in life in order to bring to you beautiful viewers. So something that I wrote down the other day is honoring the transition. So I'm going to start there with what I wrote down on my beautiful book. Thank you, beautiful book, for holding space for all of this information. But something that came up that I wrote down is that it takes time to change patterns and paradigms coming up in life. And something else that I wrote down was just a fun conversation I was having with one of my apprentices in my bakery. He was mentioning that for the past couple of years, and you might know Ka as well, who was on the podcast a few episodes ago. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend. He is such a dream, wealth of knowledge, and definitely some beautiful, beautiful experiences to share that not only inspire me, but also inspire many of the people he touches in life. And I was talking to him the other day because for the past couple of years, he has been living remotely. He just out of his vehicle, out of the van, he rented it, and he was living in the forest and not in a house, which most of us live in. For myself, I love living in the space and home and having a large place to be able to call my own. And recently, as of the first of this month, we were celebrating him moving into his home. He's like, you know what? I think it's time. I've been so happy to live remotely, but now he was feeling the call to find his own space. And so there were some things that we were chatting about that just came up that he was noticing some other patterns and paradigms and just actions in particular that he thought were really fun and curious since moving into his new space. So I love the fact when living in a van, you have pretty limited space, especially when he lives with this huge Great Pyrenees dog and himself plus his van, that there's going to be pretty minimal space in comparison to a household. And something that I thought was funny is when he mentioned that even though he has numerous garbage cans in his new home, he still went out to the vehicle, like his van, where he was parking in the driveway, and he put his garbage in the van. And he was saying he just thought it was so funny and ridiculous to, like, why not just use the garbage in the house? Like, he has the space now. But instead, something that he was used to was putting the garbage in the garbage bin in his car because he's done it for 2 years. And that got me thinking about when we are endeavoring in a new life, we're changing some patterns, behaviors, thoughts, actions, associated emotions. And even though we're doing things and it seems logical to do it one way versus another, I'm sure you've all experienced, but sometimes when things change drastically or slightly, our brain, it's like hasn't caught up yet, and our associated actions haven't caught up yet. And I know for me, there are numerous things that I find it funny, even just around the kitchen, when we change things around, like one table versus another, there's maybe 5 feet difference. And yet my body was so used to going to one table versus the other that I tried to like open a drawer that wasn't there. And I was like, oh, you're right. I was like, duh, Nikki, like you changed, like you literally were the one that changed this around. Just go walk 5 feet to the table. And I'm like, okay, right. The table's here, drawers here, gonna open it up. Perfect. This is where all of my utensils are. And great, now I know where they are. Da da da, going about my day. And then I come around, I'm like, where is it? Trying to open the same drawer that I know is in the other spot. And I was like, wait a moment. I was like, right, Nikki, you just did this. And I was laughing to myself. And I'm like, oh, right. I was like, my brain and my body haven't caught up yet. Logically, I knew where it was, and body hadn't caught up yet. And it's so funny when we're in our life and things change just a little bit. And in our life, when we are endeavoring to live a new and vibrant life, we're used to certain actions, doing things, thinking things, having particular emotions associated with it, and actions that accompany it. And so during this time of transition, when you're not yet fully walking the path, it's kind of like bushwhacking your way through a forest, creating a path, but the path isn't fully clear yet. And you're trying to wear away grooves in it to make it easier to walk through the forest, but it's not done yet. Some like in a city, the paths are already made. Like they've done such a great job of weed whacking everything. And now they've created trails. Maybe they've paved the trails. And it's so easy. Like you know where to go. Your body knows where to go. And it's maybe marked on a map for where to go and what path to walk. But when something is new, even if it's minorly new, it can still take some time for our body to get used to it. And I wanted to really honor the transition that it takes when you're endeavoring to live a new life and the habits and patterns that do come up, even when you're not aware of them. So when Ka put the garbage in his van, and when I kept trying to open up this non-existent drawer that was 5 feet away from me, it's even though we've already said, oh, right, there's a garbage can in the house, right? I can put my garbage in the house now. Or, oh, right, the drawer's 5 feet away. Now I have to move. And so there are things in your life where you're going to go unconscious because it's easier for your brain to go on autopilot than it is to consistently and constantly think about the new things that you have to remember. But once you just get that, oh, right, it's not there. Oh, right, the garbage can's in the house. Then eventually it's going to become a new pattern of thought. And it's going to, again, accompany certain emotions and actions. So when you're endeavoring to live a new life, think new thoughts, have new emotions, associated actions. It's going to take some time. We know this. And so I'd love to just hold space in this moment for the thought that I wrote down about honoring this transition and that not to beat yourself up over it and just laugh it off and say, oh, right. I used to be the person that would come home and maybe on a Friday night, like crack a beer or have a drink. You're like, oh, right. It became so ingrained in my brain and body that I immediately went to the fridge and I opened it up and I was like, oh, wait, that's not who I am anymore. I'm the kind of person now that chooses to have maybe a water instead of a beer or have um, a glass of sparkling water or juice instead of alcohol, and I choose to go to the gym. But there are certain things that come up in your life when you're like, oh, right, that's not who I am anymore. Sometimes patterns, though, come up when we don't really realize that they're so ingrained. Something else that um, something else that comes to mind as I'm thinking about this is Mary Morrissey when she was told by one of her mentors, I want you to read these pages for every day for the next 3 months. And she was like, okay, no problem. He's like, yeah, I want you to read it every day. I want you to listen to it. And I just want you to think it over every single day for the next 90 days. She's like, yeah, no problem. Got it. And so in this video that I was listening to, she went about 67 days. And she says on the 67th day, she realized a day after, she's like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot to listen to the audio, read the book, and actually think about this. And she said it wasn't that she just put it off. It wasn't that she meant to forget and not do it. It's literally that it didn't even come up in her mind's eye. And so it was almost like a light bulb went off in her head and said, this is a pattern. This is a paradigm. This is almost like the threshold of what my body's intake is right now at this moment in time. And so as I'm thinking about this now and thinking about for those of you who are installing new thought patterns, new paradigm shifts, new emotions to resonate over, new actions associated with them. For those of you who need to hear it, give yourself a break. It is all good when you're doing something often and consistent enough, and then you just don't. Your brain, again, loves to go on autopilot. 90% of our thoughts are repeats. So when the path and the groove is not worn down enough in our brain and our associated actions, it's going to be easy for us to default back to our norm. Something that helps me when I don't have physical reminders, i.e., trying to open up this metaphorical or this drawer that doesn't exist because it's 5 feet over, if I'm changing something internally that I cannot see, I do my best to create those physical reminders to help my brain and body continue to create and rehash the habits that I really, really want to install in my brain and body. Sticky notes are my friends. Writing it down in my journal is my friend. Out of sight, out of mind comes to mind when I think about this. I'm definitely someone that if I put something away, chances are I'm not going to come to it. But if I really want to remember something, it's going to be right where I need to see it. Front door, on my bathroom mirror, in my car, on my bedside table. If I really want to do something, it's going to be right in front of my face. So I recommend for those of you who are changing some habits and patterns in your life and you really want to get this down, you really want to change something in your life, then the first thing I'd recommend doing is putting it in front of your face. A fun metaphor to help associate this that I also wrote down. Thank you, past me, and for these divine inspired thoughts that tickle my fancy. May they tickle yours. Is growing a garden. I love a good garden metaphor, your mind garden. You're cultivating beautiful seeds of your dreams, whether it's a new relationship that feels more vibrant, alive, and loving, whether it's living an even greater experience in your body that is radiant and energetic and it feels light and happy and you're taking really good care of yourself, even better care of yourself, whether it's creating a beautiful new business that's thriving and successful and giving your gifts and talents to this world, or creating more time and money freedom for you to do the things that you would love to do and give to the places you'd love to give. You have things in your life that you have already established in your mind garden. And as you're tending to new seeds, it's natural that they're not going to be fully formed yet overnight. And there are some new seeds that are going to require a little bit more of your tending to and a little bit more experimentation with, a little bit more research to know how to care for these particular seeds that you are growing in your life. There are some plants that I cultivate, both physically and mentally, that require a different level of attention and care than other seeds and plants that I am tending to. Succulents are a great one that really, honestly, you could not water them for a while and then you could overwater them and then you could neglect them for a little bit and honestly they're fine. And there are some plants and seeds that they are even a little bit more in the sun or if you feed them too much, they will die and they will not be happy. They will start to get stressed out and they'll let you know straight up when their environment is not what they want it to be. And that takes some time, and that takes some research, and that takes patience too, to recognize what seeds are you planting, what are you cultivating, and how much energy do you want to put into them. When you become really good at recognizing what seeds you're planting, it becomes even easier to recognize what attention you can give some metaphorical mind seeds and, well, more than others. And so that's also something that I wanted to broach the subject on that not everything in your life is going to need the same tending to. Some you can leave for a little bit and come back to it, and it's still happy and fine. New seeds, and especially new ones that you've never endeavored to cultivate before, might require a little bit more of your attention and might require different attention in order to flourish. And just like in life, we're not going to have everything figured out right away. Trial and error is part of the experience, especially when we're honoring transitionings of our seeds, and honoring transitions in our life. That maybe we've been giving a lot of attention to one plant that really doesn't need it. And there are some plants that you're kind of neglecting, and then they're telling you, they're giving you a little like waving. They're like, "Hi, I'm kind of dying here. I would really love if you could tend to me. I'd love if you could, give me some more water or some attention or love. That'd be really nice." And again, it's up to you. If you want to let a plant die, let it die. But also, if you want it to live, then it will let you know. And along those same lines, sometimes you're planting seeds and you're like, man, I would really love to have this beautiful relationship seed or this beautiful business seed. But dude, I have no idea what I am doing. I just want to. I see other people, like it looks like such a beautiful plant. Like theirs thriving and growing. Holy moly, like how did they get it from a seed all the way into this beautiful, luscious garden? Like I would love to have that. But right now, I just have this baby seed, and I know one day it could be this beautiful big plant, but honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing with this. Ask the people, talk to your friends, find a mentor, do some research on Google. It may seem really easy to say these things, and it's the work in action that you put into it, obviously, that really allows you to step into this life. But don't give up, don't give in. Find the people who are already cultivating the seeds that you want to foster, and they'll be able to give you help and advice. And I'd also love to point out here with absolute certainty, if you are planting the seeds of success, only success may grow. I was listening to a podcast this morning about the law of compensation and also the law of success. That one would say if a farmer were to plant thistle seeds and he's expecting corn, you would say dumb farmer. Because if he was just like, what? I was planting thistles, but why am I not getting corn? Like, this is what I wanted. During the time of you cultivating seeds of prosperity, of success, of I know that this is working out for me, just trust in the process that if you are planting seeds of success and your expectation is if I am planting the seeds of success, they will grow if I give them my attention. I want you to really think about this for a second and really allow this to resonate in your body. If you have a dream, and I know you do, and you are saying, not only am I desiring this relationship, business, time and money freedom, greater health in my life, and I am watering the plant, I'm taking actions to see this through. The expectation that not only will it come into your life, but it is meant for you is a powerful energy that I would love for you to continue to touch base with. Because expectation is like the positive attractive force that will draw it into your life. If desire is a negative force that creates this vacuum, expectation and certainty that it will come into your life is the other catalyst that is meant to happen in order for it to be in your life. It may not come all at once because just like plants don't, pop up overnight, neither will your dreams pop up overnight. Some plants are, you plant the seed and holy camole, there they are, like a couple weeks later. And then maybe it'll take a season for them to come into full bloom. Other seeds, you plant them, and man, it's like watching grass grow to for them to actually come into fruition. You're like, why are you taking so long? And this is when we practice the virtue of patience. And there's some seeds that when you know it's going to take a little bit longer, then you just actively put on your patience pants, pants of patience, and you say, this is my desire to have this beautiful seed of a beautiful relationship, business, successful business, of time and money freedom, of greater health. And I do not yet know how long it's going to take for it to grow and flourish in the same way I'm seeing other people's gardens. But if I know I'm planting this seed, I know with absolute certainty that one day it will be as beautiful and flourishing as the others I'm seeing around me. For those of you who would love help tending to your seeds, by mastering your mental ability to not only recognize what seeds you are planting, to cultivate those seeds, and to become the person that tends to your seeds even more successfully, check out Mind Mastery Monday with yours truly every Monday from 3 to 4 p.m. PST, that is Pacific Standard Time, live over Zoom. You and I sit down together and I share with you for the next 12 weeks long-term and short-term tips, tricks, and techniques that help you move from where you are in your life and to help you cultivate the seeds to get you to where you want to be, whether that's a greater and more successful business, whether that's an even more loving relationship, whether that's greater time and money freedom or radiant health in your entire body. If you want to know how to master the mental skills to help you get from where you are to where you would love to be, join me for Mind Mastery Monday every Monday for the next 12 weeks. I think this is where I would love to leave you today. I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having the most magical day, that you continue to have the most magical day full of inspiration, full of even more unexpected time, money, resources, and magic to help you propel you to where you would love to be in life. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today because it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. And I will look forward to see you guys for Mind Mastery Monday and or next Friday for the next podcast. Thank you all for joining me today because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.